Greetings folks, I'm Birch, and in this video I'm going to share with you the system that I've been using to grow blueberry plants in containers for the last 6 or 7 years, and that does include this fantastic and fantastically easy to make blueberry potting mix. And with that, let's get to it. Now, before I get started mixing with both components that are going to go into my gorilla cart here, I like to say that the recipe and my fertilizing schedule and everything are not of my own creation. They actually came pretty much exclusively from a website called backyardberryplants.com. I'm going to put a link to that down below. By all means, check them out. The website has a wealth of information on blueberries, plus the best selection of blueberries in unusual cultivars that I have just not seen anywhere else. Absolutely worth your time to look at the site. And so now, let's get to ingredient number 1. So this recipe is basically 1 part pine bark mini nuggets. The mini nuggets, as you can see, are, well, that leaf has to go, but they're about that big. And ingredient number 2, 1 part peat moss. And actually, ingredient number 2 has to be sphagnum peat moss. They very specifically specified sphagnum peat moss. Okay, so now the third ingredient, if you want to call it that, is a little bit of water. Adding water is a lot more important if your sphagnum peat moss is bone dry, because the bone dry sphagnum peat moss does not take up water very well, and if you can mix it in to begin with, it will help the wetting out process once you get everything into the pot. But so once you've added the water, you just mix this up too. Not unlike making cookies or cake or something, dry ingredients with wet ingredients. Well, once you've gotten this far, you're ready to add it to the pot. Alright, so one of the first things I like to do when I get a giant pot like this is to put little pieces of hardware cloth like this. This is a 1/4 inch mesh. There are about 3 squares here and about 7 squares going up. And I put them over the drain holes. The reasons for this are twofold. One, the drain holes on a pot like this are usually quite large, which is good. But the other side of that is that the drain holes are also so large that sometimes vermin, and around here that's a short-tailed shrew or a mouse, like to burrow into big pots like this and try to make a nest in the bottom. And I found that putting the hardware cloth over the drain holes keeps them from doing that. And I realized with a plastic pot they could chew it, but that has not been a problem so far. Once you've got the drain holes covered like that, the next thing you're going to want to do is to put a shovelful of blueberry mix, a small shovelful of blueberry mix, over each one of those to hold them in place. Once those are kind of secured, about like that, you can put in the rest of the blueberry mix a whole lot more quickly. Alright folks, now that this container is completely full, it's ready to have a blueberry planted in it. I, in fact, am actually about 3 weeks ahead of time, and I know that this is going to settle a little bit over that 3-week period, and so I have filled it completely, absolutely to the top, and I wouldn't be surprised if I actually had to make a little more potting mix to top it off once the blueberry plants show up. Once the plants that I have ordered show up, and I have got them in place, I'm going to be doing a second video on how I fertilize the new plants and all the plants that I've already got in pots. And so with that, we're essentially done, folks. Thanks for hanging out with me for this entire video, learning how to get started growing blueberries in containers. And since you're here, if you could, please watch another video and subscribe to my channel. Both those things help this channel grow, and I do appreciate it. So thanks again, and goodbye for now, and I'll see you in another video.